Welcome back to your daily therapy. Silence. It's more than just the absence of sound. It's a deliberate choice, a force that can shake the very core of someone's pride. Imagine it, a deep, boundless ocean where, without warning, a powerful wave of stillness replaces every ripple of noise. When you harness silence, it becomes the one thing they can't control or manipulate, a mirror that confronts them with their own attitude and choices. As Lao Tzu once said, silence is a source of great strength, and in that strength lies the power to disrupt their self-assured attitude more profoundly than any argument, explanation, or plea ever could. You've tried talking, tried reasoning, maybe even tried bending just a little to make things smoother, but sometimes words are wasted on those who take them lightly. It's time for a different approach, one that doesn't require you to lift a single finger. They expect your response, your reaction, the validation of knowing they can still provoke a reply. But when you withhold it, when you embrace silence, that's when the game changes. Because in that silence, they start to lose their sense of control, and their attitude begins to unravel, one quiet second at a time. Imagine a deep, silent forest at dawn, wrapped in a stillness so profound that every sound echoes and every movement feels out of place. They enter, expecting to disrupt and disturb, thinking their presence will shake something loose. But instead, they find themselves absorbed by the quiet, dwarfed by the towering trees, and swallowed by the vast, steady calm that surrounds them. Your silence is this forest, vast, unyielding, and impenetrable. They might attempt to shout, to create noise, to fill the space with their own importance, but all that returns is an echo of their own voice, amplified in the quiet. This is the power of Stoic silence, an unwavering stillness that absorbs their noise and reflects it back, leaving them alone with the weight of their own presence. In time, they're forced to confront that. In this forest of silence, their actions have no power. In every quiet moment, in each unreturned text, in the space left unfilled, your silence becomes louder than any words you could ever speak. As the philosopher Seneca said, "As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters." This silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's about choosing quality over quantity, strength over struggle, and finding peace in the boundaries you set. And here's the irony. They might think your silence is submission, but in reality, it's your declaration of strength, a calm resistance that says, "I am more than your games, your tests, and your demands for attention." When you pull back, they're left with only their own attitude to contend with, forced to confront the reality of their actions without the comforting balm of your response. Like a dancer without a partner, they find themselves awkwardly stumbling, realizing that without your participation, the rhythm they thought they controlled falls apart. They've been so used to having your reactions as a backdrop that now, without it, there's a silence that feels sharper and heavier with each passing day. You see, silence isn't passive, it's active. It's a boundary, a decision, a form of self-respect that echoes louder than any argument or heated exchange. Silence says, "I don't need to convince you of my worth because I already know it." And in that space, they're left questioning themselves. They start to wonder why the attention they once took for granted is no longer there, why the reassurance they felt in your presence has vanished. In the silence, they're haunted by the weight of their own actions, left to sit with the attitude they thought was invincible. Imagine an ancient clock in an empty room, its steady ticking once a comforting rhythm, something they hardly noticed yet always relied on. But now, as they approach it, the clock has stopped. The silence is deafening. Each step they take toward it only amplifies the stillness, a reminder that what they once depended on is no longer there. That stop clock, frozen in time, is your silence. It's a stark reminder that their actions have consequences, that the steady presence they took for granted won't resume just because they expect it to. Now, in the quiet void, they confront the emptiness where support and connection once lived. And just like that clock, your silence holds a lesson they won't soon forget. Philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Your silence is that difference. It's a declaration that you won't stoop to the level of games and manipulations. You won't be baited into meaningless arguments or swayed by temporary emotions. Instead, you'll let your silence speak, revealing to them the value they lost without ever uttering a word. This silence is your shield. It's not that you don't have things to say, it's that you don't need to say them. You're choosing to protect your peace, to value your energy, and to prioritize yourself over their demands. And in doing so, you're teaching them the greatest lesson they'll ever learn. They can't ignore it. They can't dismiss it. Each day, your silence becomes a reminder that they no longer have the privilege of your attention. They can try to replace it, to distract themselves, but nothing will fill the void that your silence has left. Because, as the saying goes, the loudest silence is the one that holds back what they wish to hear. Let them sit with the emptiness. Let them feel the void. Because in that void lies the echo of everything they failed to appreciate. They'll find that the space you left behind is not easily filled. It's a reminder that they underestimated something real, something irreplaceable. Your silence becomes their mirror, forcing them to face their own attitude, stripped bare of the confidence they once had. And in that mirror, they'll see the cost of taking your presence for granted. As time passes, you'll find yourself growing stronger, more grounded, more connected to the calm within. You'll realize that silence is not just a response, but a reflection of your own self-worth. You're choosing to step back, to let them face themselves in the absence of the comfort you once provided. And in doing so, you've made the most powerful statement of all, a declaration that speaks volumes without uttering a word. Let your silence become the truth they can't ignore, the lesson they can't escape, and the force that finally breaks their attitude. Your silence is your power. It's the calm, unbreakable strength that demands respect without uttering a single word. By choosing silence, you're refusing to play their game, standing firm in your self-worth, and letting your quiet presence speak volumes. Remember, you don't need to chase, explain, or justify yourself to those who took you for granted. Your silence is enough to make them see what they've lost, and it's a reminder to yourself that your value isn't tied to their validation. My silence speaks louder than words. Write this in the comments if you're ready to own your strength, and let them feel the impact of your silence. And if this message resonates with you, support us by liking the video and subscribing to our channel. Your support keeps us motivated to bring you more empowering content on your journey to self-respect and strength. And number 1, let them taste the dust of your departure. Imagine this. You're walking a dusty road, and every step you take leaves behind a cloud that lingers long after you've moved on. That's the essence of your silence after they've dismissed you, leaving them with nothing but the dust of your absence to breathe in, a reminder that hangs in the air, unsettled and inescapable. You're no longer there to soothe, explain, or fix. You've withdrawn, and in your silence, they're left choking on the consequences of their actions, surrounded by the emptiness they didn't foresee. In Stoic philosophy, silence isn't passivity. It's a deliberate action, a powerful statement. Sometimes silence is the loudest kind of noise, as the saying goes, and in this case, the noise comes from the absence you leave behind. Your departure, like a trail of dust, clouds their vision and fills the space where you once stood, a haunting reminder of what they took for granted. This silence isn't a retreat, but a resolute step forward, allowing them to feel the hollowness of what they lost and to taste the bitterness of their own disregard. When you let them taste the dust of your departure, you're giving them a powerful lesson in self-reflection. Just like a whirlwind that leaves a landscape changed, your silence reshapes their understanding of what you meant to them. They might initially believe they're fine without you, but as the dust settles, they'll begin to realize the weight of your absence. Where there was once support, warmth, and connection, now there's only a fading trail, a shadow of what used to be. Think of a traveler lost in the desert. At first, they may brush off the thirst, thinking they can manage. But as time passes, the lack of water, the absence of that life-sustaining source, becomes a gnawing ache, something they can't ignore. Your silence is that thirst, a void that grows in their mind as they realize that the connection, the comfort, the care you offered isn't just sitting there waiting for them. You've moved on, leaving behind only the dust of memories, and in that dust, they're left to confront their own choices. In many ways, your silence acts like a mirror, reflecting their own behavior back to them. They see the impact of their neglect, the spaces where they took you for granted, and the emptiness that now fills those spaces. As they try to move forward, that dust clings to them, a faint but lingering reminder that they once had something valuable and chose to look the other way. Silence is a true friend who never betrays, Confucius once said, and in this case, your silence is a loyal ally that stands firm, unyielding, letting them face the truth they've avoided. Leaving them to taste the dust of your departure is about asserting your worth without a word. You're not engaging in arguments, pleading, or bending. Instead, you're standing firm in the silence, letting them feel the weight of your absence like a shadow that follows them. Just as a storm doesn't explain itself before it leaves, you don't owe them an explanation for your withdrawal. Your silence is the storm that clears the air, leaving only the dust for them to breathe in, each breath reminding them of what they lost. They might try to fill the void with distractions, with other people, or with meaningless noise, but nothing will compare to the presence you once offered. In the quiet moments, when there's no one else around, they'll find themselves surrounded by that unsettling dust, unable to escape the reminders of the connection they dismissed. Your silence becomes a quiet but relentless force, whispering truths they can't ignore, truths they must face alone. This silence isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming your power and showing that you won't be devalued. Your withdrawal is a boundary, a reminder that your presence isn't a given. It's a gift. By choosing silence, you allow them to taste the consequences of their choices, to live in the aftermath of their own behavior. It's a quiet but powerful declaration that you are no longer available for their convenience. As you move forward, remember that silence is sometimes the most potent message you can send. He who does not understand your silence will probably not understand your words, Elbert Hubbard once said. If they couldn't appreciate the depth of what you offered when you were present, let your silence become the echo that remains, reverberating in their mind long after you're gone. Let them taste the dust of your departure, a reminder that your worth was never theirs to overlook. Here is your affirmation. I am the dust they taste in my silence. Write this affirmation in the comments if you're ready to let your silence speak volumes. And if this message resonates with you, show your support by liking the video and subscribing to our channel. Your engagement helps us keep creating powerful content to guide you on your journey to strength and self-respect. Number 2. Be the missing puzzle piece. Imagine a picture missing one critical piece. Everything else might be in place, but without that final piece, the image feels hollow, incomplete. This is the impact of your silence on them, the void that can't be filled by anyone else. They might have had the full picture with you, yet they took you for granted. Now, with you gone, they're left staring at that incomplete puzzle, realizing that the very thing they dismissed was essential to making them feel whole. Your absence isn't just empty space, it's the unfillable gap that throws everything off balance. The silence you leave behind speaks louder than words could, a quiet reminder that without you, things just don't add up. Like a missing puzzle piece, they'll try to ignore it, brush it off, pretend it doesn't bother them. But as time goes on, that gap becomes more glaring, more irritating. Every attempt to cover it up or move on just brings them back to the same conclusion. You were the one part that made the picture complete. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. In this case, your silence has dyed their mind with memories of you, leaving an imprint they can't wash away. They might think they can move on, that they can replace you with someone else, but like a puzzle with an oddly shaped hole, nothing will quite fit. Your presence was distinct, unique, and without you, they'll feel the emptiness more deeply each day. Imagine the silence you've left as a whisper echoing through the spaces where your laughter once filled the room, a quiet reminder of what they lost. They might surround themselves with noise, new friends, distractions, but that missing piece, the one only you can fill, will remain, reminding them of the gap they created by their own actions. Like a melody with a missing note, it will haunt them, tugging at their mind, a quiet but relentless nudge that won't let them forget. Think of it this way. In a vast, intricate tapestry, even a single missing thread can make the entire pattern feel unfinished. Your silence is that missing thread. It may be subtle, but over time they'll notice the loose ends they can't fix, the hollowness they can't fill, because what they've lost is far greater than they realized. This silence isn't just an absence, it's a boundary, a line that says, I won't be taken for granted. And every time they feel that emptiness, they're confronted with the reality of what they let slip away. In the quiet space you've created, they'll feel their own choices echo back to them. As Epictetus wisely noted, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By choosing silence, you're giving them the chance to react, to feel the impact of their choices. In the void you've left, they have no choice but to face themselves, to see the hole where you once fit so perfectly. Your silence becomes a mirror, one that shows them everything they missed, everything they didn't appreciate until it was gone. Hold on to this strength, this quiet but powerful choice to let your absence speak. You don't need to explain, argue, or justify your worth. They'll see it in that missing piece, in the part of themselves that feels a little less steady, a little less whole, every day that you're not there. Let your silence be a lesson, a reminder that your presence was never a given, but a gift. End with this affirmation, letting it remind you of your worth. I am the missing piece, irreplaceable and whole within myself. Write this in the comments if you're ready to let them feel the weight of your absence. And if this resonates with you, show your support by liking this video and subscribing. Your engagement helps us bring you these empowering insights, and we're grateful to be a part of your journey. Number 3. Leave them hanging by a thread. Imagine this. You're walking a tightrope between connection and distance, balance and boundary, and with each step, they're left watching, holding their breath, waiting for your next move. They think they're still in control, that your silence is temporary, a pause rather than a declaration. But in reality, each thread between you is unraveling, strand by strand, until they're left hanging in the silence they never expected. This is the quiet power of leaving them hanging by a thread. By retreating into silence, you aren't reacting. You're letting them feel the weight of uncertainty, the gap they thought they could ignore. As the philosopher Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." And now they're wasting time wondering, questioning and doubting, suspended in the silence that once seemed trivial. Your silence becomes a deliberate space that forces them to recognize what they've taken for granted. The power of an unfinished sentence. Imagine starting a sentence but never finishing it, leaving them waiting for words that never come. This is the essence of leaving them hanging. The threads they thought would bind you to their expectations now reveal your quiet, resilient strength. Each unanswered call, each message left on read, becomes a gap they can't fill, an unfinished sentence that only you can complete. Suddenly, the power of silence becomes painfully clear. They're realizing that they depended on your responses, your presence, more than they cared to admit. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. By holding back, you aren't falling into their games. Instead, you're showing that your silence is purposeful, that you're not there to give them the easy reassurance they seek. Each time they reach out and find only silence, they feel the frayed edge of the thread that connected them to you, and now it's slipping from their grasp. The web of their own choices. Picture a spider's web, delicate but powerful, each strand interconnected. By withdrawing your presence, you leave them in the web they've spun, caught in the consequences of their own choices. They try to reach you, to make the silence disappear, but each attempt only tangles them further. They realize too late that the strands holding them up have weakened, and now the support they took for granted is unraveling thread by thread. They're forced to confront that they are hanging by a single, fragile line, and it's not one you're going to mend for them. The quiet echo of an empty space. Think of the quiet that follows after a song fades out. That silence is as powerful as the melody itself, and in your absence, they're left with nothing but echoes, replaying memories they can't bring back. Each memory, once comforting, now becomes a reminder of the connection they neglected. It's as though they're hanging over an empty canyon, hearing their own voice bounce back, unanswered. They feel suspended, unsure, reaching for something that is no longer there. Your silence has become the space where they must confront themselves, the emptiness they're left to examine alone. In hanging by a thread, they start to realize that the comfort they once felt was never guaranteed, that the warmth they took for granted could vanish without a single word. Stand tall in your silence. Leaving them hanging by a thread is not about bitterness or revenge. It's about showing that your presence isn't something they can toy with. By refusing to rush to their rescue, you're asserting your worth. You're making it clear that you don't exist to fill the silence they created. Let them feel the fragility of the connection they assumed would always be there. Stand tall, knowing that your silence speaks louder than any words you could have said. My silence is my strength, and I choose who holds the threads of my presence. Write this affirmation in the comments if you're ready to embrace the strength of silence. And if this message resonates with you, please support us by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Your encouragement helps us continue to create these empowering lessons for you. Number 4. Fade like the last light at dusk. Imagine a quiet evening where the sun slips below the horizon, leaving the sky tinged with the faintest traces of color. That fading light, once vibrant and warm, slowly disappears, leaving behind a haunting twilight. This is the essence of your silence, subtle, calm, and irreplaceably powerful. Like the final light at dusk, your silence leaves them in a shadowed emptiness, making them yearn for the warmth and brightness that only you once brought. They may not realize it at first, assuming you'll still be there like the day they took for granted. But as time passes and your silence deepens, they start to feel the void. Just as dusk slips into night, leaving only memories of light, your quiet withdrawal will remind them of everything they failed to appreciate. Your silence, like dusk, doesn't scream for attention. It simply fades, leaving a lasting impact that words could never achieve. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, wisely said, "Silence is safer than speech." This isn't about retreat or weakness. It's about reclaiming your inner strength and deciding not to waste energy on those who took you for granted. By fading like dusk, you allow them to confront the darkness of their own choices. In your silence, they will find themselves searching for the light they let slip away, only to find nothing but shadows of what once was. Think of your silence as a soft, inevitable descent, like the sun retreating from the sky. It leaves a mark, one they may not fully grasp until it's gone. The beauty of dusk lies in its quiet disappearance, not in its force. As you withdraw, the subtlety of your silence becomes undeniable, filling their mind like the cooling shadows of twilight. There's a lingering presence that remains, a haunting memory of the light that once illuminated their world. This fading presence holds a potent lesson. They may try to replace your light with distractions, but like the irreplaceable glow of dusk, your absence can't be substituted. Just as a world without sunlight grows colder, they'll feel the chill of your silence settling around them, realizing too late that what they dismissed was something rare and steady. Your quiet retreat, like the setting sun, casts a shadow that grows deeper, an inescapable reminder of what they've lost. And remember, the setting sun never apologizes for leaving. It simply moves on. You too don't need to explain or justify your silence. The beauty of your quiet retreat is that it allows you to maintain your dignity, to hold your ground without being swayed by their reactions. Like dusk, your silence has a natural, unbreakable rhythm, one they can't control. And as they sit alone in the darkness, the realization dawns on them. They were basking in a light they never bothered to appreciate. As the Stoic Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." You're not stooping to their level, not begging for respect or recognition. Instead, you're embracing the quiet power of your silence, letting it be your message and your boundary. This silence isn't about withholding kindness. It's about reserving it for those who truly value it. So, let yourself fade like the last light at dusk. Let your silence speak louder than any confrontation. In that twilight, you'll find strength, peace, and a reminder of your own worth, a worth that doesn't need their validation. Let them sit in the darkness of their choices, and let your silence be the boundary that shields your heart. I am like the light at dusk. My silence is powerful and undeniable. Write this in the comments if you're ready to embrace the strength of quiet retreat and let your silence be your message. If this message resonates with you, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support fuels us to bring you more insights and empowering lessons on self-worth and strength. Let's continue this journey together. Number 5. Slip into the shadows. Imagine this. You've been a constant, steady presence in their life, always there, always available, always ready to give. Yet, your loyalty and warmth have been treated like wallpaper, a background they barely notice. Now, it's time for a change. Rather than voicing your frustrations, choose the quiet power of slipping into the shadows. No loud exit, no drama, just a subtle retreat, like the sun setting behind the mountains. Your silence will be like the quiet darkness they didn't realize they feared. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Your silence becomes the answer to their ungrateful attitude, leaving them craving what they no longer have. By withdrawing, you're no longer pouring your energy into someone who took it for granted. You're reclaiming that energy, allowing the void you leave behind to speak louder than any words could. Slipping into the shadows doesn't mean vanishing entirely. It means stepping back just enough for them to feel the loss. Imagine a light dimming gradually in a room they thought would always be illuminated. At first, they might not notice it, wrapped up in their own world. But as the darkness deepens, they'll find themselves reaching for the comfort they once had, and realizing it's no longer there. That's the impact of your silence. You're leaving them alone with the emptiness, letting the quiet of your absence echo in ways words never could. This is not about retreating out of weakness. It's about embracing the quiet strength of self-respect. Think of a shadow. It doesn't seek validation, nor does it chase the light. It exists on its own terms, quiet yet ever-present. By slipping into the shadows, you become the quiet, almost haunting presence that lingers in their mind, making them wonder why their world feels different, emptier. They might look around, search for what's missing, and then it hits them. You were the steady ground they overlooked. Let your silence be like the quiet tide that pulls back from the shore. At first, they might not notice as you gradually distance yourself, but eventually they'll feel the emptiness. Like the tide, you'll be gone, and they'll find themselves stranded, grasping at memories they had assumed would last forever. Slipping into the shadows means you're leaving them with only the faint outline of what you once provided, the warmth, the care, the steadfast support that's now beyond their reach. As Lao Tzu said, silence is a source of great strength. In choosing this silent, subtle retreat, you're showing them that you're not a fixture they can just ignore. You were a gift, a constant source of support. And now that you've slipped away, they'll have to confront what they lost. The realization will dawn on them like a slow sunrise after a long, cold night. Your presence was a light they took for granted, and now they're left in the dim shadows, wrestling with their own choices. By slipping into the shadows, you reclaim your peace and power. You're no longer waiting on them to appreciate you. Instead, you're stepping back into your own light, where their validation no longer matters. This silence is your shield, your way of saying, "I am enough on my own. I don't need to be seen or heard by someone who failed to value my presence." And with each passing day, your absence will grow louder, haunting the spaces you once filled with warmth and care. Remember, this journey isn't about punishing them. It's about honoring yourself. It's about showing, through quiet action, that you won't waste your light on someone who prefers shadows. Let them feel the chill of your absence as you embrace the warmth of your own peace. I am stronger in my silence. I honor my worth by stepping back. Write this in the comments if you're ready to reclaim your strength through silence. And if this message resonates with you, support us by hitting like and subscribing to our channel. Your support keeps us motivated to share empowering lessons that help you stand strong in your worth. Number 6. Let your silence be a lock. Without a key, imagine this. They approach you, expecting the usual warmth and attention, but instead they find a quiet, impenetrable silence, a lock that no one else can open. Your silence has become a closed door, one that doesn't budge, no matter how hard they try to push or peek through. In that moment, they realize that access to you was never guaranteed, and now it's beyond their reach. Just as the philosopher Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." You've taken a step back, knowing that true strength lies in holding firm, even if others don't immediately understand. This silence, this locked door, is your quiet declaration of self-respect. It's a reminder that your presence is a privilege, not a given. By turning away and keeping the key to yourself, you're sending a message louder than words. You are no longer the open book they can casually skim through, or the door they can open at will. You are the lock without a key, a mystery they can't solve, a space they can no longer enter. And as they stand before that locked door, wondering where they went wrong, your silence grows louder than any argument, louder than any confrontation could ever be. Consider the image of an ancient, intricately carved chest. They know there's something valuable inside, something irreplaceable, unique, something they had once taken for granted. But now, as they stand before it, they realize they no longer hold the key. They fumble, they try different approaches, maybe even try to pick the lock. But this is no ordinary lock. It is a quiet, unyielding barrier, crafted with intention and held firmly by your choice. Each attempt to open it meets with silence, reinforcing the lesson they never expected to learn. Your presence was not an endless invitation. This locked door, your silence, gives them space to reflect, to truly understand the weight of their actions. No distraction, no substitute can replace the access they once had to you. They're left to dwell on the choices that led them here. This is the power of silent boundaries. As Confucius once said, "Silence is a true friend who never betrays." Your silence, like a steadfast friend, stands guard at the door of your well-being, protecting you from those who have taken you for granted. Remember, the beauty of this locked silence lies in its resilience. You're not shutting down out of anger or bitterness. You're holding strong out of self-respect. When they realize the door is closed, they're forced to confront their own behavior. They'll think back on moments when they could have valued you more, moments they brushed off without understanding the gift of access to your heart and mind. Now, they're outside that door, and the silence is a teacher more profound than any lecture or explanation. This silence isn't about punishing them. It's about reclaiming your own space, preserving the energy that they once took without thought. You're teaching them, without words, that they must earn their place in your life. By keeping that door closed, you're showing that you are the one who controls access to your world. They may knock, they may try to peer through, but until they learn to value what's on the other side, that door remains firmly shut. In this locked silence, you're not hiding. You're simply choosing who gets to enter. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the strength to know that your worth isn't dependent on anyone else's recognition. They may seek answers, but sometimes the most profound answer is the one they'll never fully understand. You are the lock without a key, a boundary that's firm, quiet, and unbreakable. So, stand tall in this silent strength. You've created a boundary that commands respect. Let them feel the weight of their choices, the emptiness left by their disregard. You're no longer an open door. You're a rare, precious presence, something they must value to truly appreciate. I am the lock without a key. My silence holds my power. Write this in the comments if you're ready to embrace the strength of your silence and let it protect your self-worth. If this message resonates with you, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue creating lessons like these, crafted to empower you and guide you on your journey to self-respect and strength. Number 7. Become the closed book they long to read again. Imagine a book, one that was always open, pages spread out for anyone who wanted to read. It's filled with stories, secrets, and moments of vulnerability, always there to be revisited, always accessible. But what happens when that book closes, when it's no longer open for casual reading? Suddenly, the pages become a mystery, the words locked away, and the reader is left with only their fading memories of what was inside. This is the effect your silence can have. By becoming the closed book, you leave them longing to turn the pages they once took for granted. People tend to dismiss what's always within reach. Just like a book that's always open on the coffee table, your presence became a part of the background, a familiar comfort they assumed would never change. But now, you've closed that book, choosing silence, and that's where the power lies. In your absence, they're left with only flashes of what they remember, vague impressions of the words they skimmed over too quickly. As philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once said, "Once you label me, you negate me." In closing yourself off, you're refusing to be easily labeled or understood. You're reclaiming your complexity, your mystery, and your worth. Picture it like a classic novel that someone sets aside, thinking they'll return to it whenever they want. But now, when they reach for it, they realize it's no longer there. The book is missing from the shelf, and they're left with nothing but memories of the chapters they barely read. Your silence, your withdrawal, creates a kind of scarcity, a gap they can't fill. Suddenly, they realize that every page held something valuable, something they can no longer access, and they're left grappling with the realization of what they've lost. By choosing to close yourself off, you're not being vindictive, you're honoring your own story. You're stepping away from the people who didn't appreciate your pages, your depth. Silence becomes your shield, a boundary that protects the narrative of who you are. It says, "If you couldn't appreciate my presence, you won't have the luxury of my absence explained." Like a rare book taken off the shelves, your silence forces them to confront their own neglect, to face the fact that they'll never understand you fully because they never tried. Now, in the quiet, you hold all the power. Your silence turns you into a mystery they can't solve, a story they desperately want to revisit but can't. Like a closed book on a forgotten shelf, you've become something precious and elusive, leaving them wondering about the words they missed, the meaning they overlooked. You're no longer there to provide answers or to be easily accessible. Your silence is a statement that says, "I am not here to be understood by those who didn't value my story." Remember this as you reclaim your space. Sometimes, closing yourself off is the most powerful chapter you can write. In the quiet of your absence, you let them feel the weight of every unread line, every overlooked word. You're no longer a book that's always open. You're a rare, unread story they might never get to know again. I am a closed book, a story reserved for those who value every page. Write this affirmation in the comments if you're ready to reclaim your worth and honor your story. If this message resonates with you, show your support by liking the video and subscribing to our channel. Your encouragement helps us keep creating these powerful lessons to guide you on your journey. Number 8. Be the thunder that rolls from afar. Imagine a storm rumbling on the horizon, powerful, unseen, yet impossible to ignore. That's the energy your silence carries when you pull back, creating an impact that resonates even from a distance. Your silence becomes the thunder that rolls from afar, a force that steadily grows in their mind, leaving them unsettled as they wonder what went wrong, realizing too late the gravity of what they lost. As the philosopher Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." Your silence is that calm strength, felt deeply but without a single word spoken. This isn't a retreat, it's a recalibration. Just as distant thunder sends ripples across the sky, your silence echoes long after your departure, making its presence known in the stillness you leave behind. Like the quiet power of a storm moving slowly across a darkening sky, your absence is a force they can feel, one they can't ignore, no matter how much they try. Each passing day without your presence builds an intensity that reverberates through their thoughts, reminding them of the strength they underestimated. Think of this silence as an invisible ripple that reaches them at their most vulnerable moments, a reminder of the loyalty, warmth, and stability they took for granted. Let it be a wake-up call, a reminder that your presence was a gift, not a guarantee. They'll feel that rolling thunder in their mind, growing louder in the spaces where your voice once filled the silence. If this resonates with you, take a moment to like and subscribe. Your support means everything to us as we work hard to provide these lessons that empower you to reclaim your strength in silence.